Welcome back, you inglorious bastards and magnificent.
It has begun!
It is I, Doc Camo, and we're back for my thought of the day.
How dare you!
And before we begin, it's September 2nd. We didn't have a show yesterday, so here's the show today. Here, the doom. Here is the the Afghanistan. I'm so glad that there is no fucking more mean tweets shirt. It's the new shirt of the month. Engagement, engagement, engagement. That's how you win it. Engagement on the website's worth double. And if you become a member, you're gonna get 100 different entries into this raffle and other myriad of benefits, because that's how winning is done. We're trying to get 2,500 members by the 1st of January to shelter us from the censorship machine and to get some income to make this better for you guys and to make more stuff for you guys. Like I'm turning a video game into a television show, kind of like Red versus Blue, but this is like a new development I just started last night, so this is going to be a project that's later on, but that's going to be up on the website when we're finished, and we'll talk more about it as we get closer to launching that, because there's a lot involved in that. But it's like I have the all the Hollywood programs that I haven't been using for transitioning and stuff, and I figured I should have to learn how to use those, and then we can transition the show into them and act, because we record this and might as well make it better for you guys, because that's how winning is done. But yeah, no, the we're gonna get into the president being an idiot and the White House being disgraceful and stuff and lying and allowing stupid things to happen. But first, we're going to talk about Texas, because Texas is doing some awesome things. They just joined the ranks of open carry, and they also passed a new law that we'll get into in the next segment. But let's get into this first segment. Welcome, Texas. Winning. Welcome to the ranks of constitutional carry. Welcome. That's just the way winning is done. Texas can now open carry guns in public without a permit or training. Police say the new law makes it harder to do their jobs. Winning. If you can't do your job within the bounds of people's rights, then your job is wrong. Whatever job you're doing shouldn't be done that way, or it shouldn't be done at all. That's just the way it is. A pro-gun law in Texas that went into effect Wednesday allows most Texans who legally own a firearm to carry it openly in public without obtaining a permit or training, a measure that experts say will make it more challenging for law enforcement to protect the public from gun violence. The public can protect themselves. That's why they're having guns. I do think that you should have training, because the gun will fail you when you need it the most, and you should already know how to deal with that. That's just like the controversial constitutional carry legislation. I mean, it's constitutional carry. We have it here in New Hampshire, but like, you should go get training. I'm not saying you require it, but you should go get it. It's the latest. I mean, you're going to require it in a fight. Like I said, it's going to fail you the most, and you're going to want to know how to deal with it. It's like a gun is a machine like anything else. You put enough rounds through that, it's going to gunk up and it's not going to work. It could even blow up in your face in certain circumstances, so you should probably know how to deal with that stuff.
That's how winning is done!
The latest series pro-gun bills that the state lawmakers passed this year as gun violence incidents rise in Texas and across the country. The number of shootings in Texas, not including suicides, increased 14% this year, with roughly 3,200 shootings compared to the same period in 2020, which recordedly roughly 2,800 shootings, accordingly to data compiled by the Gun Violence Archive. GVA gun violence incidents this year represents a 50% increase over the same period in 2019, which saw 2,100 shootings. The data shows a 50% increase.
Winning. No.
Yeah.
You suck!
Yeah, and this bill will decrease it. We're one of New Hampshire here. We're one of the safest places in the country.
Winning.
Everybody's packing. That's why we're safe. People think twice when you're packing. In Texas, repealing the permit altogether. I mean, think about it. If you had a choice between two targets, and you had the guy that's packing heat and could fight back, or the lonely woman in the place where she can't fight back, who are you going to choose? It is what it is. In Texas, repealing the permit altogether is a radical change, said Andrew Kowalski, a policy expert at Everytown for Gun Safety, the largest gun violence prevention organization in the country. Just allowing almost anyone to carry a handgun in public, no questions asked, no background check or safety training, is really dangerous. It's it's people's rights. Conservative activists had lobbied for permitless carry proposals for years, but they were stalled in the past three legislative sessions, declaring that the law instilled freedom in the Lone Star State. Governor Greg Abbott signed the bill, which the State House Representatives approved in an 82 to 62 vote. Sounds like most Texans want this. Into a law in June, despite opposition from Democrats, some policies leaders, and gun control advocates. Dallas Police Chief Eddie Garcia said people open carry firearms that have made it harder for officers to differentiate a good guy with a gun from a bad guy with a gun. A good guy with a gun is just carrying a gun, going about his life. A bad guy in his gun with a gun is brandishing his gun and trying to rob a bank or something.
Winning? No.
It's not fucking rocket science. Maybe you need smarter police officers. Gun shop owner Jesus Chiagra left attends to customer Angel Zacharias on Tuesday at Chai's gun shop in El Paso, Texas, as applicants billed regarding the new Texas gun law. Owning a firearm and being able to deploy a firearm in a safe manner requires not only familiarity with the firearm system, but also a level of proficiency, said Frank Stockel, the director of the Center for Mass Violence Response Studies and the National Police Foundation. Now, this I agree with.
That's how winning is done.
Like I've been saying, you do need to be familiar with the system because it has faults. It doesn't just pull the trigger, go bang bang. That's what you should probably, but like to require a license or whatnot or government intervention. I mean, maybe you can carry without a permit, but you have to show that you have proficiency with the weapon. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But a step towards freedom is always a step in the right direction. Known as House Bill 1927, the law applies to Texas ages 21 and older and excludes people who are prohibited from legally owning a firearm, such as those convicted of a felony, assault, domestic violence, terrorist threats. Before the law went into effect, Wednesday residents could carry handguns only with a license and were required to complete training as well as pass a written exam and proficiency test. Republican supporters of the bill argued that by removing the license requirement, they are removing an artificial barrier to residents' right to bear arms under the Constitution and ensuring more Texans have access to the protection of themselves or their families in public. This bill, to me, is a restoration of the belief and trust of our citizens, said State Senator Charles Schwartner, a Republican and the bill sponsors. If you possess a firearm, you should be able to carry a firearm. And this is true. If you possess the firearm, you should be able to carry the firearm. If you want to read that yourself, it's CNN. We read the title at the beginning. You can look it up and read it. But firearms is like if you can't speak your mind, freedom of speech, and you can't defend yourself from all threats, both foreign and domestic, to include your own government, which is why we have firearms, and we should be able to own whatever the hell the government has.
That's how winning is done.
You're not free. You're just not. This is a step in the right direction. Like I said, welcome Texas. This is a good place to be, and we welcome all of the states. All of American territories should be in this camp because that's how winning is done. It's our constitutional right. I'm just saying.